welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Saturday. It is the weekly energy card reading, and what that is you, the viewer, get to choose from one of 3 tarot or oracle decks, and we'll go ahead and do a quick spread to see what the general energies will be like for the next 7 days. It does not need to be the week of April 17th through the 24th in order for the messages to resonate. If you come across this video at any time, it is what we call universal, where there might be a message contained for you. We have a saying in card reading. We say take what resonates and leave the rest. I like to think of card reading like dream interpretation. We're just looking at the symbols and seeing what we see in the cards. Sometimes I even like to go back to a previous read after the week has, gone, after I've gone through the week. I sometimes go back to look and see what the, how it matched up, because sometimes in retrospect, the different events or the different symbols really kind of come across differently. But there's lots of different ways that you can utilize card readings to help just get a bead on what the general feelings and energies are of the week. But definitely, if you feel like it doesn't resonate, you do not need to take the message. Just leave it by the wayside. Now, we have 3 decks today that we have not seen in a while. I like to keep my cards in rotation. The first deck is the Tarot of the Southwest Sacred Tribes. And on top of it, we have a beautiful Jasper Eagle. This is such a gorgeous stone. The second deck is the Zillich Tarot, which is a beautiful watercolor deck. And on top of it, we have a green, I thought it was a green fluorite, but I think it might be a green calcite, if that's a thing. And it's such a gorgeous stone, but it pairs very beautifully. And this is a smaller deck, but it's a really gorgeous one. The third deck is the Starseeker Tarot by the Van Mystic, and on top of it we have a beautiful amethyst double point crystal. I'm sorry, I'm not being very articulate. And today I'm going to clarify, I was really drawn to use the Gypsy Oracle cards, and on top of it we have a beautiful citrine. So I'll go ahead and do a freeze frame. If you need more time, please pause the video. Please choose from your intuition, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and move these up. Let's go ahead and see deck number 1, the Tarot of the Southwest Sacred Tribes. What's your energy for the week? Let's go ahead and see. Deck number 1, 17th through the 24th. What are our energies? Okay, I'll go with the top card. Okay, middle of the week. Ooh, okay. Okay, end of the week, please. With both of these. Oh, interesting. I'm getting a real interesting theme here, guys. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. And let's go ahead and, as I drop my citrine here, let's go ahead and see what's our clarifying, what's our energy. Oh, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and take all 3 cards here. That's interesting. Gosh, we're just getting cards popping out everywhere. Okay. All right. Wow, guys. So you have 2 majors in this read. And I always say anytime a major comes up, it doesn't mean that something astronomical is going to happen. It just means that you've got some more pivotal kind of life events going on in your life. And it's almost like, I always think of it like the gears of a clock. The big gears are the events of your life, like getting married, graduating school, having a baby, buying a house. Those bigger gears turn the smaller gears of, working your 9-to-5 job and, moving or things like that. So so when you see a major come out in a weekly read, it just kind of means, okay, this is the bigger theme. That's kind of the theme of the beginning of your week. And the beginning of your week, you got the Devil. And what's interesting about this is that it really, you know what this reminds me of is just like a regular devil card. And I know a lot of people get really freaked out by the devil card because it looks, sacrilegious, right? A lot of times when you see the devil, you think of, and I honestly kind of think of it when I look at this card too. Something about the mask. You see how it looks like a horned mask and it has all these feathers. I know this sounds weird. Um, when I look at that image, I kind of get the vibe of praising a false god. And I don't mean that in a weird way. I know, I'm sorry. This is already starting off on a strange foot. This beginning of my week. How am I praising a strange god? I'm getting a real money vibe from this. And I'm getting a money vibe in the sense like, have you ever the thing about the devil is about addictions. It's like being stuck, right? It's like feeling stuck. It's like feeling like you're on the hamster wheel of something. The other thing is like it's feeling stuck. Like, have you ever heard the phrase making the deal with the devil, right? Like, what I'm kind of getting here is I'm getting a little bit of a codependency vibe. You might be codependent on something, and if you've ever had those kind of, it's a human thing, right? It's a human thing because being codependent on something, and I know this sounds strange, is not it's not as evil as people make it sound out to be. You know what I mean? Like, say for instance you had a really rough year. Like, I'll even use myself as an example. A few years ago my father passed. And that was a very, very sad time for me. I was grieving. And one thing that I would do that always, kind of made me feel better is I would go to the mall and I would buy something, right? You know how you do that. You go to the mall and you buy something. And anytime you go to the mall, you drop $100, right? And before you know it, you end up with credit card debt, right? So it can kind of be something like that. It can be those kind of addictions where you know what you're getting into. Okay, if I let myself go to the mall, I know I'm going to spend $100. If I put that on a credit card, I'm not going to be paying it back right away. Do I really want to be doing that? That's the kind of energy that I'm getting at the beginning of the week. I get the feeling like you might be feeding into or fueling, you're going to be fueling into your codependent kind of urges, probably because you feel like it's your deal with the devil, right? It's like you saying, "Okay, I could be good and stay home and not spend any money, but I'd be sitting at home and I'd be miserable, and you know what? I'm just going to feed the beast, right? I'm going to feed the beast. I'm going to do that negative thing that keeps me hooked because I need it, right? Because I need it, right? That's the codependent kind of, craving kind of energy. So in the beginning of the week, I definitely get a sense like you're going to be participating in something that you know isn't good, that keeps you hooked, because that's the other thing. Okay, same scenario. If you spend money and you don't pay it back right away, it keeps you hooked, right? How many months before you finally pay it off? How much interest are you paying before you pay it off, right? I do the same thing with coffee. I like to go to coffee places. Goodness knows you can you can make coffee at home for like $1, right? If you broke down the actual cost of the amount of coffee you used and made it at home, but it's just not as good as when you go to the coffee place and have it custom made for you, right? Even though that you're dropping $5-6. But that's what I'm kind of getting. That's what I'm kind of getting. The beginning of the week, you kind of know you're going to be kind of giving into your desires a little bit. You're going to be staying on the hamster wheel. And you know that you're staying in the hamster wheel, or that you're staying in a bad loop. The other thing that this can be pertaining to is that maybe, it can really apply to anything in your life that you feel like you're caving to. But I do think at the beginning of the week, you're kind of caving and giving in to someone or something that you like to do, even though you know it's not the best for you, right? But it's almost like I'm getting a strong sense because at the end of the week, you have like the 10 of Wands. I'm almost getting that feeling like, okay, let me just do this one more time. And that's what we always say, right? Let me just do this one more time and then I'll stop. And that is the little devil voice, right? But the other thing that I kind of get is that there is underneath it, and this card really kind of came out under the devil, you got messenger. Um, the other thing that I kind of get is that if you're talking to someone that maybe you really shouldn't be talking to, it's almost like, okay, you know you shouldn't be giving in, but you're just so tempted, right? Let me just text this person, right? Let me go ahead and give in to temptation, right? That's what I'm kind of getting from this. Either that, or if maybe you've been trying to abstain from something, like you've been trying to say, okay, I am quitting this. I'm not going to be pulled back into it, right? And that could be talking to someone. It could be someone that you had your eye on. It could be, money. It could be drinking, or maybe you're even trying to quit smoking or something like that. But you're going to get some kind of message, and maybe you're trying to not party as much, and then your friend sends you a text and says, hey, we're going out tonight, and you're like, oh my god, that's and I'm getting a strong sense. The other thing I kind of get is by the middle of the week the cravings are going to be really strong. Like, it's going to be very easy for you to be pulled back in, right? So something is going to be very kind of tempting, and that it's not good for you, but you are going to kind of cave a little bit. I get the sense like you're going to kind of cave. Now, the other thing that I kind of get from this is that in the beginning of the week, you might get some kind of message from someone that you are dependent on, right? Like, it's almost like you have to go along to get along is what I'm kind of getting, even though it makes you feel a little bit trapped. But beginning of the week, there's definitely going to be some kind of communication that kind of pulls you back in, or keeps you back under the thumb of some kind of codependent behavior. And you know what it is, though. That's the thing, is that this isn't a surprise. It does, but it just does make you feel like, again, it makes you feel like you're giving in that to the temptation of something. Now, by the middle of the week, this is interesting. You go straight into the magician's energy. And underneath it, we have the Two of Coins. So this is really interesting, guys. I do think that I get the sense like you're trying to pull away from something. Like, and again, with these being majors, this has been a long game, right? This week is one small little gear in the big clock of things, right? This week is one leg of the long game, of a longer picture here. But by the middle of the week, I see that it's almost like you're getting renewed energy. You might feel like it does kind of feel like two steps forward, one step back. It seems like you're moving very slowly, but it's almost like something about some kind of communication, some kind of message gets you pulled back into like old behaviors. But by the middle of the week, it's almost like I'm hearing integration. Like you're trying to get away from this stuck energy, this codependent energy. You're trying to move. The beautiful thing about the magician is very willful, and he has the power of the universe behind him. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, you see the magician pointing one hand to the sky and one hand pointing towards the ground. And almost like a lightning bolt, he's the conduit between heaven and earth. And what it is he has all the elements at his disposal. He has the pentacle, he has the wand, he has the cup, he has the wand, pentacle, cup. What am I missing? Sword. He has all of those, right? He has all of the elements at his disposal. So what I'm kind of seeing is, I see you might be two steps back. You might be one step back in the beginning of the week, but by the middle of the week, it's almost like you're regrouping. And the real vibe I'm getting here, and especially with this Two of Pentacles, it's almost like you're kind of juggling between the two energies. It's like, okay, I'm still dependent on this devil energy. I'm gonna keep getting sucked in. It's almost like, okay, I don't want to be dependent anymore, but getting out of it is going to take time. So it's a little bit of a juggling act, right? The other thing I kind of get is that sometimes the two of coins can mean two jobs, right, or two responsibilities. So what it could be is that you might be kind of pulled in two directions, but the middle of the week, it's almost like you've got a renewed energy to try to get back on track with your goals, right? The other thing that I can kind of see here is with it being two pentacles, one of those pentacles might be your pentacle. You see how he's holding one and the other one he's kind of, the other thing is that you notice how he's looking ahead. He's not really looking down at the pentacle that's kind of on the ground. I really get the sense that maybe it's quite possible that you might be footing kind of two bills right now. Maybe you're supporting someone else as well as yourself, but you'd really like to just be supporting yourself right now, but you're obligated, right? So again, maybe you got an email from someone that, maybe there's a family member who needs financial help and you're like, oh gosh, I'm dependent on this person, or this person's dependent on me, and it makes you feel really bogged down. But by the middle of the week, it's almost like what I'm kind of seeing is it's almost like you're taking a good approach, because even though you feel like pulled down or bogged down by whatever this devil energy is, it's almost like you're saying, okay, how can I keep moving forward? How can I juggle these two responsibilities and still, what resources do I have on the table, and how can I build what I need to build? It's almost a MacGyver kind of energy. Okay, I've got a spool of copper wire, I've got a battery, and I've got some duct tape. What can I make out of that, right? It's kind of like that energy, and that's a good energy. That's a positive energy. You're not going to allow yourself to get stuck. You know what? I always saw the magician a lot. I'll even share with you. When I was going to school, I put myself through college, and there were a lot of really long days. And I'd get up at 6 in the morning, go to work, pack all of my meals, and then right after work, I would drive straight to school. And it was hard, because it was like I did not have the luxury of not working. I had to work a 40-hour work week, and I had to go to school at night. This is the kind of energy that I'm kind of getting from that. It's like, yes, it's almost like you got two full-time jobs, and you're looking at what you have and how to manifest, how to use those resources to keep on going, right? Just keep on going. And I did the same thing when I was working. I would try to budget and say, okay, how can I still pay and support myself, and then pay for what I got to pay, right? But by the middle of the week, you're definitely going to be in that energy. And this is some powerful energy. The other thing that I get, the magician, again, is a conduit of the universe's energy. You have a lot of good, you have a lot of universal energy that can power you forward, that can help you move forward. Now, by the end of the week, this is really beautiful, guys. You got the Ace of Cups, and you got the Ten of Wands. And you see how many wands this guy is carrying, right? I think by the end of the week, you are doing just that. I really do get the sense, like, I get this feeling like you have personal goals that you want to achieve, but you have external circumstances that you're also responsible for. And it's really making you feel bogged down. The other thing is you see little envelopes here. I'm getting kind of like inundated with emails or communications. The other thing is that there's two envelopes here and there's two pentacles there. I get like you feel pulled in two directions. The other thing is the Ace of Cups can really be your own well. Like, it can be your own cup. It could be your sense, your personal sense of emotional fulfillment. So what I'm really getting here is by the end of the week, you're making yourself a priority, but you're also making your other responsibilities a priority. So it's just giving you a lot to do. It's giving you a lot to do, and you're gonna feel it. But the one thing that I do get, though, and I'll even tell you, when, just like I said, when I was going to school at night, it was a lot of work, but it was fulfilling to me, though. Even though it was homework and packing every meal of the day and really budgeting everything down to the penny, that's very fulfilling when you know that you're going to do what you got to do to get where you're going, right? So underneath all this hard work, I think you will have moments of that fulfillment. Also, over the weekend, I think once if you are working, I think you will have a few moments where you get to be alone and quiet, and in those moments, you really feel like you have a full cup, even though you're so busy. But just know that I do think that you have a lot of responsibilities right now, and it's almost like I do kind of get the sense like these weekends, your downtime is very very crucial to you because you are working really hard, and it is almost like all of your life force energy is going towards taking care of your core goals, and you connect to those, but you also have some other kind of very heavy you have another very heavy obligation that's not off your back and probably won't be off your back for a while, but you're kind of you're gonna do what you got to do to keep moving forward. um, Now one other thing that I can kind of see with this is that no, I'm not getting too many like relationship. I don't think this is a person, you know. I do think that this Ace of Cups is your cup, like your energy. Now the other cards that you got is you got enemy, and you see how someone's kind of hiding behind a tree and looking, and then you got joyfulness, and then you got Lord, which Lord is, you know, it's an antiquated, it's a patriarchal kind of card where it's talking about being the lord of lands, right? So what I really kind of get from this is that, you know, you might feel like someone is kind of lording over you. That's one thing, you know. The other thing I kind of get is that you might have someone who's kind of calling the shots right now, like what they say goes. And I really get a sense like you feel like this person is, you know, when it feels like a little bit of a false friendship. I hate to say it that way, but there's someone who's kind of lording over you, or calling the shots. And when you're the thing, what I'm kind of getting is when you're in a social setting, this person is very very easygoing, but they might be kind of, I won't say that they're out to see you fail, but I do think that you might be coming across as a little bit of competition to this person. Um, Now, the other thing that I kind of get is that it's possible that, like, over the weekend, um, and again, with all of this, there's quite a bit of Pentacles energy here. If this is work related, this could be a little bit of competition. And I hate to say it, you know, it's funny when I see this card, I kind of think, this is going to sound so dumb, but I got to say it. Have you ever seen those movies where it's like a dance off? Like if you've ever seen West Side Story, okay? And you know how you have the two rival gangs, and in that movie, instead of it being, you know, like, you know, oh gosh, I'm even hearing that song. You know, like, and it's like who can dance better, right? So what I'm kind of getting is that I do just think that I feel like for all the things that you're trying to do to get ahead really does involve some kind of social competition, and you're either on top right now, but it's almost like you got to watch your back, because you see how this guy is watching, and you see how he's dressed, and you see how similar the dress is to the Lord there. It almost looks like the same guy with the feather in his hat. um, so I do I do kind of get a sense like I'm getting kind of a sense like there's probably some hidden enemies here, either that or part of your challenge, part of your like depend what's going on here could be like work related, in the sense like someone might be kind of smiling to your face, like in a public setting they seem like they're your buddy, like they're cool with you, but really you got to kind of watch your back. The other thing I kind of get with this many emails, it could be one of those situations where, and again, I'm kind of getting a sense like, I don't think anybody wants you to fail, but if you screw up, they'll be the first one to call you on it. I am getting almost a sense like you're dealing with someone that's making you, that's probably intimidated by you a little bit. Like they see you as a little bit of a threat. Either that, or one way I can kind of see this is that with all of this work, and especially with the magician and the Lord, you might feel like you're on top right now. Like, again, you're in the winner's circle, you know, you're kind of celebrating. The other thing I think of this is I think of the Three of Cups when I see this card, because it looks like that, the three women dancing. I wonder if, you know, if you're really enjoying some abundance. There you go. You might be enjoying some abundance right now from all of your hard work, but you might have somebody who's there who might lay claim to it, or might, you know, might want to kind of compete with you for that. But I do see two goals here, though. I am getting a strong sense, like there's almost like a private side of you that you work on it, and I'm almost hearing like at night, like you moonlight or something, and at night you let this show. High Priestess, yeah. There's something about you that's hidden. There's a part of you that you keep hidden, and you cultivate this like kind of alternate person on the sides, because but in the beginning of the week you're probably answering to people, and the middle of the week you're going to get like a second wind of energy. You're going to try to use what resources that you have to push yourself forward. And again, I'm getting like two jobs, like, you know, you're doing what you got to in your circumstances, but then at night you're working hard. By the end of the week you are going to feel very worn out. You are making progress. You are going to have like a full cup emotionally, but you're working really hard. The other thing I kind of get from this is that, you know, burning the candle at both ends, you know, you will burn out. So you do probably want to give yourself some kind of rest if you're able to. But I get the sense like you feel like if you put any of these rods down, that either someone is going to come along and say, "Oh, see, you can't hack it," or or someone's going to call you out for not being able to keep up. But I do think that you need to be kind to yourself. You might have some competition here, but definitely, you know, the other thing I kind of get is that you feel like people are watching what you do. I know that sounds a little strange, but with all these rods and, you know, with this enemy hiding behind a tree, it's like, I don't know. I'm getting a sense of like perfectionism, because you're afraid that the moment that you screw up, somebody's gonna call you or say, "Look what this person's doing." But this full cup is a beautiful sign, because it means that you're putting your full effort towards both the codependent, what you owe to other people, but you're quietly in your own private time, you know, doing what you love to do too. But just definitely try to rest when you can, because you are taking on a lot. All right, so deck number 2, the Zillich Tarot. Let's go ahead and see what's your energy for the week. What's going on this week? Okay, this card really wants to come out. Ooh, oh, okay. Middle of the week and end of the week. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Okay, and let's go ahead and see. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. Now, beginning of the week, this is interesting. You got the Prince of Discs, and the princes, are they knights? I'm sorry, I have to, this deck is outlined a little. Oh, why am I picking up? That's the Gypsy, sorry. The Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands. Okay, so there is a knight, and then there's a prince, princess. So the princesses are pages, the princes are knights, and the knights are kings, I think. I think that's how it goes. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The knights are kings. Okay, it's a little confusing because there's no kings in this deck. The queens are queens. Okay, so the Prince of Discs. The Prince of Discs is the Knight of Discs. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. And At least I think so. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I should know this. I haven't. This is the only deck that I have that's outlined like that. I'm almost positive. Yeah, because it's Prince, Princess, and then Queen, Knight. Yes, yeah. I'm almost positive. Yeah. The Prince of Discs is the Knight of Pentacles. So underneath, so the beginning of the week, you got the Knight of Pentacles and you got the Two of Cups. And that's really beautiful, guys. That's really gorgeous. So what I'm kind of getting here is I do get a sense that you're connecting with someone really kind of slowly. It's almost been kind of slow and steady kind of growth. And in the beginning of the week, I do sense that it's just going to be, you know what I'm almost getting is I'm getting that kind of connection that comes in a very organic way, like nothing is rushed. Um, if you've ever seen those videos of the slow capture, like if someone's ever taken a picture of themselves every day for a year, I remember I saw a video of a lady who had cut her hair really short, and then she just took these like stop one picture every day for 365 days, and you could see her hair growing back out. Or if you take a picture of a flower that's been growing, the beginning of the week, it's that kind of thing. It's like that stop picture video kind of growth. That's how it kind of feels. And what it is in the beginning of the week, you're going to feel like a real heart to heart connection to someone. And this is going to be someone that you've had that kind of slow growth with, right? It's not, it might be someone that you might not talk to them every day, or if you do talk to them every day, it's just like little messages. But and this doesn't necessarily have to be like love, like full blown love. The Two of Cups is a very lovey dovey card, and the Ten of Discs is also. But let me just kind of see here. The Two of Cups, how lovey dovey is this? I'm just going to clarify once. One card to clarify the Two of Cups. Ooh, the Tower. Okay, that's going to be kind of something kind of sudden. And Justice. Okay, so Tower and Justice both have kind of they both have kind of like an epiphany kind of commonality. So what I'm kind of gonna what I'm kind of gonna see, sorry, what I kind of see here is that I kind of see that over the weekend or the beginning of the week, it's almost like you have a realization, like you have a realization. Not to sound funny, but if you've ever seen the old cartoon Kim Possible, you know how Kim and her best friend Ron Stoppable, like they were best friends forever, and they were totally different personalities. And then by the end of the cartoon season, they kind of realized that they were like perfect for each other, right? And it was not it's not the flaming kind of love kind of feeling. It is almost like a sudden realization or an epiphany. Oh my goodness, this person is a little bit more than my best friend. Now, this does not need to mean that this has to be anything romantic. This does not have to be a romantic relationship, but it does mean that you just kind of realize that you have a real heart-centered connection to this Knight of Pentacles person, and it's almost like it's developed slowly over time. And again, like stop picture, film, one picture every day of the same object in the same position, and you see how much it's grown, right? The other thing is that we haven't gotten to, one thing that's kind of making me think that is that the two oracle cards you got is you got friend and you got house, which really speaks house can be a real house, but it can also mean stability, right? It means stability. It means that you have a foundation with somebody, right? And what happens slowly over time when you connect, when you really connect with someone. So again, over the weekend and into the beginning of the week, I think you're just going to have a real heart-centered connection with someone. This could be a best friend. The other thing is that you might just have the realization that you're really connected. You might, I do get feeling like you're going to have some kind of moment that really feels like a connection to someone, and it feels like it's been a long time coming, and it's almost like an epiphany. There was a great song, speaking of Kim Possible, there was a great song by Carlson Romano, that's called Could It Be? And I'll go ahead and if it's okay, I'll post the link in this under this group link. But it was like that. It was about that moment, like, could it be that, that this person that I'm feeling so connected to has been right here the whole time, right? Like a good friend, like a solid person. The other thing I get is that this could be someone who's just always been there for you, very kind of steadily. And so this could be, it could be a family member, it could be a cousin or a brother. But I am almost getting like a good friend, like a good friend. Now, by the middle of the week, you got the Seven of Swords and you got the Two of Wands. And so this is really interesting energy, guys. Now, the Seven of Swords, here you talk about futility is the key word there. And you see this woman with her hand on her head. Now, the Seven of Swords in tarot is traditionally that kind of sneaky Pete card, right? It's the person who's sneaking away. And with the Two of Wands, what I really get with this, and especially with the keyword futility, is that just like with the Seven of Swords, and we had a tarot on the Seven of Swords, if you're really concerned about this energy, you may want to check out that video. Or as you go through the week, if you feel like, okay, this part of the reading is starting to click, like makes sense, you may want to check out the How to Tarot for the Seven of Swords. But the Seven of Swords is really talking about like not being of a different mindset than everyone around you, and feeling like you can't, like again, like it's futile, like something that's futile is like being like, well, what's the purpose of me even saying what I really think, because it's not going to happen for me. It's like feeling outnumbered, and therefore you have to keep your own opinions to yourself, or that you have to sneak around, or you have to do things on the down low because either people around you won't understand, or you feel like you'll be ostracized for it. Like you have to be sneaky, right? And the Two of Wands is about making a choice. It's about having a choice between what you have. And if you look at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, it's a choice between, okay, I have one rod that's bolted to the wall, and then I have this other rod that looks really, really appealing that I want to go for. So here I do kind of get the sense like in the middle of the week, I feel like you just kind of feel like you have a choice to make, and you're feeling like it's almost like you feel like you have to sneak away from someone or something, or that you just feel like you're not allowed to say. What I'm really getting here is there's some kind of energy in the middle of the week where you feel like you can't say what you really want, and you have to sneak around, and it's like you have to be clandestine in order to make a choice. The other thing that I kind of get is with the Two of Wands, it usually means that there's one choice that you really, really want to go with, but it's like you have to be quiet about it, or you can't let anybody know, or you have to kind of do it in a behind the curtain kind of way, because you'll either be judged, or it's like you can't be above board with what it is that you want to do. And the other thing that I kind of get, especially with this imagery, is that now, one other thing that I do kind of get, and this is a little bit of a strange energy, you might have like the prospect of someone that's really good, that's right in front of you, but you don't really want that option. You want a different option, right? And you feel like you have to hide your feelings, or you have to hide your thoughts. and I do kind of feel like you're acting one way in front of in front of the prospect, but inside you really just you want to sneak away. Like you feel you think something completely different, but that you again futile is like when you think, okay, I could do that, I could take this action, but it would be futile. If I take this action, it won't make any difference. So gosh, guys, I really hope that you're not in this situation where you feel like you have to go with one option even though it's really not what you want, because unfortunately that doesn't really lead to a good outcome. But I am kind of getting a sense like there might be someone there who's very reliable and very steady there, steady for you. And by the middle of the week, there's this other option that you really want, but you're like, oh gosh, it wouldn't work out. It just wouldn't work out. Um, I do just feel I see a little bit of a conflicted energy in the middle of the week. I feel like, you know, it's funny. This is the Seven of Swords, but I'm getting such a Eight of Swords energy from this. Something about the way the woman's standing, like you're stuck, like you feel like you don't have a choice, but you do have a choice. And the thing about the middle of the week energy is you see how much red is in this. Um, I really do think that the other thing that I get is that I get the sense like you don't want to do anything, you don't want to make any impulsive decisions, but you kind of know in your heart what you want to go with, though. Um, but the thing is, I do think that it's almost like you feel like you have to keep those real desires hidden. You're not allowed to come out and say what it is that you really want, or what you really think. Um, but what I do kind of see here, though, is that I do kind of see a connection between these energies um, by the middle of the week, because you have two twos, and that usually means a choice, right? It means a choice. Um, so, these could be separate themes. You might just have a moment where you really connect to someone and you kind of realize, okay, this person's always been there for me. And then by the middle of the week, you kind of just whatever choice that you want. I would say that by the middle of the week, it's almost like you are going to feel like you're kind of sneaking around. It's quite possible that you have a decision to make about something, possibly a relationship. Because I'm seeing two people. We have two people towards the end of the week, so um, I get the feeling like almost like by the end of the week, um, it's almost like you're planning what you're going to do, and by the middle of the week you have to firm up what it is that you really want to go with. But in the meantime, you can't really say what you think. I know that sounds really strange, but definitely, I would say that whenever you have a choice to make, I would say go with what it is that, well, I'm not going to give you any advice. You know the best thing to do, because this is really tough. It's so trite when people are like, "Well, you should always follow your heart." Well, it's this we live in the real world, right? And then in the real world, you could have your eye on someone who's not a good choice, and again, that would put you in that feudal energy where you feel like that you're not allowed to have what you want. So um, but definitely in the middle of the week, you're going to have a little bit of a choice, and you're going to feel like you're kind of what I'm getting is that you almost feel like you're evading someone, right? You're sneaking around, and this doesn't have to be bad sneaky energy. Sometimes it could just be like, I don't want to answer that text yet because this person is asking me to make a decision and I'm not ready to make my decision yet, right? I'm not, either you're not ready to come out and say, look, this is what I'm going to do. And that is fine, because that's the other thing. The other thing is that, don't let anybody pressure you to do anything that you're not ready to do. Because the Seven of Swords does get a bad rap of being like, again, the sneaky person, but the Seven of Swords is an energy that we in it, even in it has a healthy manifestation when, because it is those situations where it's not safe for you to voice your opinion. So yes, you do have to be clandestine. It's like if I voiced what I really thought right now, I'd be judged, censured, ostracized, right? And so here, again, you feel like it would be futile to say anything in the middle of the week. So the jury's still out by the middle of the week, but you really kind of know in your heart what you want to go with. Now, the interesting thing is by the end of the week, this is interesting. You've got the 10 of discs, you got the 10 of coins, and you got the 8 of wands. So I do think, now, first off, the 8 of wands is like that full speed ahead kind of energy. So if you were leaning back in the middle of the week, if you were leaning back, if you were kind of holding your tongue and not saying what you wanted, by the end of the week, that I think that's going away. I think you're finally going to come out and say, look, this is what I'm going to do. And with this being wands and this being wands, I think once you make that decision, it's going to be full speed ahead. The other thing that I get is that I think you're finally going to come out and say what you really want, and you see this person kind of jumping around. I know this is a very joyous card, but you see like rainbows and a little girl, leaping around. Um, I think, what I'm kind of getting is that it's almost going to make you feel a little bit lighter to say what you really feel, like to finally get it off your chest saying, okay, this is what I want to do. Um, the other thing that I kind of get is that the Ten of Discs can be like, it can be family support. I do see two people in this card, so it could quite potentially be. I mean, if this is the Two of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. It is quite possible that maybe you'll have a really the same person that you were really connecting to in the beginning of the week. You might have like a really lovely, if you decide, okay, I'm going to spend more time with this person. Again, this real epiphany kind of energy. I do see that it's almost like things are speeding up. Things have been so slow and stagnant, and then once you finally say, okay, I'm really going to put some time into this person, things just seem like full speed ahead. Like okay, things finally feel like they're progressing forward. The other thing that I get is that this could be a very happy time with family. Um, where you might have some kind of family event that just feels really really good. Um, the other thing that I get is that there might be some kind of um, there might what I'm kind of getting here is that I get the sense like in the middle of the week that you felt like you really had to make decisions on your own. Like okay, if I say what I want to do, I'm not going to get any support. And then by the end of the week, it's almost like you coming out and saying what you really want to do. It's almost like you have the full support of your family, right? Like, and it's almost like you're allowed to go forward, and it feels exciting because again, this looks like two parents and this looks like a child, right? So maybe some kind of decision that you were really agonizing over just kind of makes you feel much more supported. One other way that I can kind of read this too is that maybe you've had like a lot of heartfelt connections with a friend, and and it can still be friendship. It's just that person is really there for you. Maybe the other thing I get is that like you see your cards are friend and house. Maybe your friend comes over to your house, or you spend time with your. The other way I kind of read this is maybe you spend time with your friend's family, and that really makes you feel much better. Like you just again you have a foundation of friendship with someone. um, the other thing that I kind of get is both house and the Ten of Pentacles talk about like households, or of like strong foundations, because you see there's a house in the background of this too. So it's quite possible that you visit someone's house, right? Or just someone someone either visits your house or you visit theirs, and it just makes you feel so much better, right? Again, you know, you just um, you feel like you have family, you know, with through friends. And the other thing that I kind of get from this is that even if this is an independent energy, like if you're saying, okay, I want to do, I want to be independent, I want to do things on my own, you're going to have the support of either your family or your friend's family. Um, One other thing I kind of get from this is like your friends feel like home to you, right? You know, now one other thing that I kind of read from this is that you know, with the advent of social media, there's a lot of friends who meet online, and when you finally actually meet someone in person, you know, I can kind of see that. But here I'm seeing like a long-term connection to someone, right? Um, it could potentially be that you're introducing a friend to your family, right? The other thing is that one other way, just to throw it out there, is that if you've been kind of talking to someone, if you've been kind of hanging out with someone casually, just as friends, and then you invite them to come meet your family, or you invite them over to your house for the first time, right? And that's a milestone, right? That's a milestone. You're kind of progressing things. Things are moving ahead. Things are moving ahead. But wow, guys, oh my gosh, that's a good week. That's a very positive week. You know, and you know, whatever conflicted energy you have in the middle of the week, you're going to feel a lot more supported by the end. So that's great. All right, so last but not least, we have the Star Seeker Tarot by the Van Mystic. So let's go ahead and, excuse me, hiccup. Let's go ahead and see what's your energy for the next 7 days. Beginning of the week, deck number 3. Middle of the week. Ooh. Oh, wow, what a beautiful week. End of the week. Oh my goodness, got 2 majors to clarify the world. The Wheel and the 8 of Pentacles. Wow. Oh my gosh, the Wheel and the World. Holy Toledo, guys. Yeah, I think you're completing a cycle there for sure. All right. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just getting a beat on this here. All right, so this is interesting. All right, so the Love card keeps wanting to come out, so this could pertain to love a little bit, but all right, so beginning of the week, you got the Nine of Pentacles. So you got that independent person card. I love this. I love this card. It's very independent. It's very. This is really beautiful energy, guys. Now, beginning of the week, you really are going to just kind of feel. You're going to feel very self-sufficient, right? The other thing I kind of get is I'm very drawn to the outdoors. Like I'm looking at her cloak and I'm seeing like the tree in the background. I do get the sense, I get the feeling like you're going to feel pretty connected to nature. It's possible that maybe you'll be going on walks, but you're going to feel, it's almost like you know how sometimes when you've been working a lot, you go for a walk to get out of your head, but your mind is still really racing. I get the feeling by the beginning of the week into the by the over the weekend and beginning of the week, you're really going to be feeling like in tune. And it's almost like you're going out in nature to kind of recharge, but you're at peace. That's what I'm kind of getting. You're at peace. Now, this could also be that maybe you're working in a garden over the weekend. And you know how all of us have hobbies that we like to do? Like, I like to scrapbook when I sit down and I start, creating pages. And, it's really it's a soothing experience to me. It's a decompressing kind of energy. And that's what I'm kind of getting with this. I get the sense like I really get the feeling like when you clock out from work and it's been a good productive day, and actually you have the Eight of Pentacles here too, so I do think that you're a hard worker. I think that you put a lot of effort into your work, but what I'm getting here is I'm getting a real good work life balance this week, which is excellent. It's almost like, again, you did a great job at work, you got all of your work done. When you clocked out, it was a full day, not too slow, not too fast. And then it's almost like everything is just, everything is going well. You go out for a walk, you feel connected to nature, you work in your garden, you do those hobbies that you like to do. I just think that you feel whole and you feel complete. I do kind of get an independent energy from this, so it's almost like you're completely happy on your own. You don't need anyone else to make you happy. Your routines, your process of doing things is you're very contented, and that's wonderful. The other thing that I kind of get from this is that just this balanced energy, like you doing the things you do, you working the way that you work, it always leaves you with enough, right? You have enough money, you're not, you're not stressed, you don't feel imbalanced at all. And that's what I'm kind of seeing with this. The other thing that I kind of get is, now this is a falcon, and what it is falcons are trained. It's a sign of it's a sign of self control. But what I'm kind of getting here is, what I'm almost thinking is that birds are birds are symbols. Excuse me, I'm yawning. Birds are symbols of communication. And so, it's, how so many of us are kind of tied to our cell phones. I live in North America, and they always say Americans were workaholics. We'll go on vacation and we'll never turn our phone off. We're always checking our emails. And here, I feel when I see this bird in that sense, it's almost like you have your email trained, right? You know when you need to check it, when you don't need to check it, and if you feel like it's going to impede on your downtime, you again, I'm getting a very strong work play balance that's really beautiful here, and you're just going to be in that groove. You're going to be in a very positive vibe at the beginning of the week, and again, doing your thing. I do get the sense that you might have a garden, or you might be doing something that's kind of outside. But again, it's almost like, the other thing I kind of get with this is that if you've ever had those weekends where I always call them the no plan weekends, where you don't have anything. I mean, of course, you'll make your meals and do the necessary chores, but outside of just eating, sleeping, and breathing, you don't have anything on the agenda but whatever you feel like doing, right? I love those days because those days end up being those relaxing, like, okay, do I feel like going for a walk? Yeah, let's go for a walk. And then you see all this beautiful nature, and then you just feel great. And then you come back and you're like, okay, what do I want to do now? The day is all mine. And again, and that's a real independent, that's a Nine of Pentacles energy. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. So by the middle of the week, it just keeps getting better, guys. This is such a gorgeous energy. Middle of the week, you got the sun. And look at that, guys. You see the little sunspots? The lighting doesn't do these cards justice. There's so much beautiful, it's like layers of images. And here, I just, again, I get the sense that here, because you're getting the sun is, burning away all the clouds, and you're standing on what looks like on the top of a mountaintop, right? So you're just going to really feel like you're on top of the world in the middle of the week. I feel like you're going to be on top of your problems, like you're going to be above your problems. The other thing is that, it could just be that you're just in a really happy place in life. But here, I do almost get the feeling like something is going to make you really happy in the middle of the week. Um, the sun can be something that's coming to life that just makes you really, really like stupid excited. Let me go ahead and just pull one more card. What is going to make us... Ah, there you go, the womb. Okay, this is a beautiful card. I actually have a deck review video for this deck. It's called the Star Seeker Tarot. The names and the authors are in the description box, but this is beautiful, guys, because also we go from 9 to 19 to 21, which is the last card of the majors, and then 22 is a special card that this artist added to the deck, and it's called the Womb. And the womb is about like suspension. It's like incubation. It's like you kind of, again, I feel like you're doing something very creative. Like you're in the middle of the week, you're just going to feel like you're walking on the sunshine, or that you're on top of the mountain. I really get the sense that you feel like your problems are below you, like you're not worried about anything. And it's almost like you're in your own little bubble. You're in your own little incubation kind of period. Um, I always kind of feel womb energy, again, when I'm doing hobbies or things that really help me relax, things that are creative. The sun is a very creative energy. Um, Now, just for a small few of you, this does not need to be everyone. When it's a womb and the sun is representative of the divine masculine. This can be a sign of someone who just found out that they were expecting, or that they're going to be a parent or a father, and that can make them just feel on top of the world, right? Or if you are expecting, like, what this kind of reminds me of is, how in during stages of pregnancy, maybe you feel the first kick, or you see the hand come across the tummy, and it just, you're like, oh my gosh, how exciting is that? One of those moments that just make you feel like really excited. Now, the other thing that I kind of get, yeah, other than that, I think that you're, the other thing about the 9 is that it's one away from the 10. So it's quite possible that you might have just finished some kind of cycle in your life. Like maybe you just graduated from school, or you just got a promotion at work, and here you are, you're just kind of enjoying that. You're enjoying that feeling, and you are just kind of, again, gestating. You're kind of going to go into your womb and just, enjoy this suspension. Because the other thing I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of suspension here, right? You see a lot of floating, you know. This week is really going to be about just kind of like letting your own creativity kind of grow. And I do get the sense like you're in your own, you're in utero, and you're in some kind of creative utero, and it's making you real happy though. Um, Now, one other way I can kind of read this, with this being pentacles around all this really gorgeous energy, is that you might be at a really good place with your career. Like maybe you just sold your business, or maybe your business just went public, or some kind of product that you were making just gets turned into a big business for you. And again, getting that phone call, and you do almost kind of pull into yourself to go, wow, look at what I've done, look at what I've created. Because when you think about that, what is a womb? It's a area of creation. The other thing about it is that it doesn't have to be baby energy. Sometimes it can be a brain child, or you. The thing about the sun is that the sun is about kind of everything coming to light, or you having a bright idea. So you could be, some kind of bright idea that you had or creative idea might be, coming to a culmination. But I think in the middle of the week, you're going to have a really happy time. But I am almost getting a sense like you're growing in kind of a quiet, internal way. I'm getting a little bit of hermit energy from this, but not in a solemn way. It's almost like the other thing I get is that I get the sense that you might be going out on like hikes, or you might be out in nature. The other thing that I get is that you might be really in your own mind, kind of coming up with new ideas of things that you want to do or try, and it's really putting you in a good mood, right? One other thing I get is that you might get ideas while you're out in nature, like when you go for walks, when it's just you and nature. When you're standing on top of the mountaintop, looking at the beautiful vista ahead of you, it might give you a lot of ideas. So that's really beautiful. But I think something is growing here. Something's growing. And the other thing is that again, in both of these pictures, it's kind of hard to see, but there are mountains in the background, and she's like levitating above them. So, all of your problems seem very small from your perspective. Now, by the end of the week, this is gorgeous energy. Again, guys, you got more levitation, and again, the imagery in this card is so freaking gorgeous. But you got the world. The world is the wrapping up of a cycle, right? And underneath it, you got the Eight of Pentacles, and you got the Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, guys, I really get the sense that you might be working on something. You might be creating something. This could be some kind of creative idea, or some kind of like art project, that's becoming something much bigger. You see how many stars, like you have little stars on your cape there in the beginning of the week, and then there are stars in the background of the world, and then there's stars behind the wheel. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is really beautiful because it's a spider's web. And the spider's web, I think of two things. I think of how everything's interconnected. You know how when you pull on one string of a spider web, it affects the whole. Everything is interconnected, right? So just like when you use the term food web or the web of nature, right? All animals, all living things are connected to one another, and here this is real beautiful because the wheel is really talking about divine timing. It's also talking about like divine purpose, like there's some kind of goal that you're working towards is gonna connect to other things. Like what you're doing is part of a bigger web of the universe, right? The world, right? You see the universe, the stars behind you. So whatever it is that you're doing, this might be like a really bright idea that comes to you, and as you're following it, the universe is really guiding you, because I think you're going to be of service to other people. The other thing I kind of get is that the Wheel of Fortune is about fortune turning in your favor. So you might be working on something that's of great use to the world. And I know that sounds real lofty for a weekly energy read, but I just get the sense that by the end of the week, whatever idea or whatever creative thing that you've been kind of doing, by the end of the week, you're going to be practicing it. It's almost like you're perfecting whatever it is that you're doing. If this is an idea, you're trying to get it into real perfect, form. If this is some kind of work endeavor, you're really working hard. And what you're going to do is by the end of the week, you feel like, I just think that over the weekend, you're going to feel very, very motivated. Like you're going to feel like things, like the universe is on your side. The other thing that I kind of get is that I keep getting that you just keep getting better, right? Things just keep getting better. You know how it is that sometimes when you come up with a creative idea, the first day that you have the idea, you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then the next day you're like, oh, that would never work. That was so yesterday. Why did I even think I could do that? But here I keep seeing that maybe you have an idea and then you do like a test model of it and you're like, oh, okay, that model was okay, but let me perfect it and you keep perfecting it and perfecting it and perfecting it, and you keep trying and trying and trying, and it just keeps getting better, or your idea keeps evolving, right? And I do get a strong sense that maybe, like, again, if you believe in your angels or guides or your spirits around you, or in God, I think that something is really leading you towards something. Like this, whatever idea, whatever you're working on, could really is a really um, it not only gives back to the universe, but the universe is kind of fueling your idea, and it's really gonna it's gonna help you feel. You're gonna feel the theme for this whole week is like feeling on top of the world, right? Um, but the other thing that I kind of get is that you feel like you're about to start a new cycle. That's the other thing I kind of get here is like, again, the world is about completing one cycle so you can start another. And all three of these cards are towards the end of the major arcanas, guys. Like the wheel is the number 10, which is the culmination of a cycle. It's the last card of the minors. Then you got the 19, 21, and 22. These are like the last cards of the majors um, in this deck. So, but yeah, you have like a really bright idea, and you're gonna be excited to follow it. The other thing is that if you look outside this person's window, like he's working late at night to perfect his craft, and look at the outside of the window, guys. There's like shooting stars. There's shooting stars. It's almost like, oh my, it's like, go pile three, go, go, Um, but I feel like things just keep getting better, and you want to perfect whatever it is that you're doing. And I do think that you're being kind of divinely guided, and this is going to be very good. This is like, it's almost like you're meant to. Um, the other thing that I kind of get is that if you have been experiencing some kind of tough times, you finally feel like that is closing out. Like this, you know how when you get a new project and it gives you, when you start something new and you just feel like, oh gosh, this just feels like a clean slate. This feels like a new start, like a new chapter, right? That's what it kind of feels like. So whatever you're doing over the weekend, and it doesn't have to be anything really amazing or crazy. Maybe you're posting TikTok videos, but the content that you're posting is very influential and it's very helpful, and it's gonna help. It's a new start for you, right? And whatever it is that you're doing is fulfilling to you, and it makes you feel on top of the world. Now, this is really interesting, guys. These themes really play into it. For your oracle cards, you got room. And room, when you look in a dream dictionary, if you dream of being in a room or being in your room, that's like being in your own private space, right? It's when you think of your bedroom, what is that? That's your living area, right? That's where you get to be yourself. That's where there's no one else around, right? Except if you're married and have a spouse. But and what you see here is, again, how we talked about, looking like you're in a womb, like you're in your own space. I really get the sense that all this week I get a lot of solitary energy. Like this person, there's no other people around. It's just like you and nature. The other thing I keep hearing is you're in your element. I know that sounds strange. You're in your element. You're in your element. And what I'm seeing here is you kind of got three cards here, and this is a little strange, but here it says widower, and then you also got service. So what I'm kind of getting here, guys, is that maybe you have had some kind of loss in your life, that you're finally kind of like, again, maybe you're starting to finally feel better. Maybe that's, you feel like one stage of your life is kind of wrapping up. And again, if you've ever gone through loss or known grief, and believe me, I know, I feel for you. If you've had that, I completely understand. I've had a lot of loss in my life, and it's funny how there's a lot of really gloomy times, and then all of a sudden, just one day, one day you go on the same walk that you always go on, and the sun is just shining a little bit brighter, right? You can actually see the colors in the trees again, right? So what I'm kind of getting here is that I think it's telling you that your time of loss or your time of challenge, these mountains you're finally rising above your challenges, and you're really going to feel it this week. I think this week is probably going to be the first week in a long time, that you're going to start feeling better. And then it is almost like by you pulling into your own womb, by you going into your own private space, you're going to be creating something that is going to be of service to the world. And I do get the sense that this new endeavor is going to be very you. It's going to be, again, in your element. It's something inspired by, it can be you helping other people from your experiences of loss. But I do think about something about going out into nature makes you feel kind of like you're it's going to help you feel better, and it's going to help give you a bunch of good ideas that are going to be very influential, that are going to be very helpful. And I am almost getting like, when I see stars, I do kind of think of social media. And we have stars in 4 of these cards here, guys. That's really wild. So I do think that there's going to be some kind of idea that you have that might get the jump off, might get the launch from social media. And it's almost like you're kind of, by the weekend, it's almost like you're working on it, like you're creating your content, or you're getting it together, and it is going to be of service. But I do think this is going to be exciting because you're starting to feel better. And again, this week, you're just, the other thing is I'm getting a lot of being really in tune, really in tune. But I don't get the sense of any of this happiness being external. This energy is really radiating from your sense of self. And and this is really beautiful, guys. I really get the sense that the your creation is really an expression of yourself. Like, you're really putting yourself into whatever it is that you're doing. And that's really gorgeous, guys. That's really beautiful energy. But wow. One other thing I kind of get is that maybe you're getting a lot of positive attention for being a nurturer, to being a nurturer. Like, maybe you're kind of act like a mother to the world. I know that sounds weird, but sometimes when you are on social media, or when you post things for public view, if you do post content that's very nurturing or helpful to people, or for the purpose of serving other people, that does make you kind of like a mother in a cosmic sense, right? Right? So that's really beautiful. But wow, guys, that's gorgeous energy. Gosh, I've always said this. My pile 3, like pile 3 always feels so cosmic. I don't know if it's the number or what, but I just feel like my pile 3 folks are always just, I get the sense like you're my new age people, like you're my astrologers, my card readers, or my spiritual peeps, right? So, but wow, guys, all three decks were wonderful. It looks like we're gonna have a really wonderful week. Please take it easy. It is gonna be Earth Day on Thursday, so I do really do love Earth Day. I have a separate channel called Eco Girl in a Modern World, and I like to post content over there. So I'm gonna do my best to try to keep. It's been a long time since I posted there, so I'm gonna try to get some earth friendly videos out in honor of Earth Day. And but I will definitely, I hope everyone has a great week, and I will be back next Saturday for another weekly energy card reading. And I hope everyone stays well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.